Oh God. Now, this is how we started our season. Chelsea nil, Crystal Palace nil. Now we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it. Am I worried? No, fuck that. I'm not even worried because the whole of last week, right? I've been seeing a lot of people giving some ridiculous predictions, talking about how Chelsea are never going to finish in the top four and how we're going to struggle this season. Now, to some degree, we might struggle this season in terms of how fatigued we are and everything. But am I worried? Absolutely not. Am I happy about this game? Fuck no. But hey, we're going to talk about it. And before we do that, make sure you do subscribe to the channel and support your boy. Now, let's get into the game. One thing that's guaranteed, one thing, if you're playing Crystal Palace here, you need to be good with two things, right? You need to make sure when you hit them in transition, you actually take your chances and you score goals. And number two, you need to make sure you defend very well. Why? Because they're so good in transition. They defend so well. At the same time, in position, in transition, they're so good. Now, from a Chelsea point of view, we don't really defend quite well compared to Crystal Palace or any other like top five teams in the league, right? But at the same time as well, our strength has always been when we without the ball. So when we hit teams in transition, we tend to take our chances and actually score goals. However, on a day like this one, when we are not in full force and when we are not having a good day, when we don't actually take our chances, we tend to have matches like this where we drew. Now, I go back to say I'm not really concerned about today's game because it's only the first game of the season. However, that can also demoralize our mood, our vibe. Because if we had won this game, we would have had to go to the next game, which is against West Ham, with more momentum than we're actually going to go with because we drew the game. Now, let's talk about the game itself. Listen, I can't really pinpoint what was the actual wrong with the whole team today, but we didn't seem to be at a level where we should be if we want to play in the Premier League. Well, if we want to compete for the title, even we want to compete for top four. Listen, today I can name players like Cole Palmer, Enzo Fernandez, even Caicedo, Reece James. We go on to João Pedro, Pedro Neto, Jamie Gittens. It wasn't just coming up. I don't know what was wrong. Even simple passes will not be able to make it. The only player today that I can say they did so much in the time that they were given is actually Esteval. Because when Esteval came on, I think for like 35, 40 minutes, he actually did so much more than I expected from him, being an 18-year-old kid. I expected more from Cole Palmer, Enzo Fernandez, Caicedo, Reece James, João Pedro, to be precise. I expected more from these guys, but I get nothing. I got nothing. Listen, I'm not gonna go on and crash out and talk about how Jamie Carragher is good or any other, talk sport kind of guys who talks rubbish to give them the validation that they might be looking for to say maybe they're right about Chelsea. We're not ready for the league. Maybe the fact that we went to America and played for 1 month there and got only 3 weeks of rest, maybe 2.5 weeks of rest, is going to affect how this season is going to go. I'm not going to give them that satisfaction. But however, I think we need to talk about that because that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a problem. Like today, I do agree with Maresca. We needed our center backs. We needed Tosin today in terms of height in the box. We needed Colwill in terms of his passing breakline passes. We needed him today. And that's not even me digging on Achimpong because I think Achimpong is a very, very good player. But he's not Colwill. And that's not even mean that Colwill is like world class. But I think we play better with Colwill than we do play with Achimpong. And he's a very good player. The problem is the way we use our center backs is different from the typical way of center backs, how they're being used. Because we use our central left back as like a central back. And then we either invert the right back or the left back. Now today we were inverting Cucurella, making him go as forward as he could. in the midfield as well. So now Achimpong had to play as like a central defender. No, actually, yeah, him and Chalaba had to play in the central. Now, they can do the job as much as Tosin can do it, as much as Colwill can do it. So, there, it's a problem. Now, we need to go in the market now and try to look for a player that can do that type of job. Because as much as Achimpong wasn't too bad today, you could see the missing of Colwill and Tosin today. Now, let's go back to the midfield. I thought Enzo Fernandez was rubbish. Like, he's a good player for me. Every time he tried to cross the ball into the box, he overdid it. Every time he tried to make a pass, he either overdid it or didn't do it enough. Now, Caicedo, as much as he wasn't on his top game today, I wouldn't say he was rubbish. He was okay. Let's go back to my left wing. I said I don't want Garnacho, but I'd rather have options because right now, it's not looking good. Like from what I've seen or what I saw today, it's not looking good. Because I saw Jamie Gittens struggling to take on his man today. Now you can put it up on how defensive Crystal Palace, how good they are in defense, or you can put it on maybe he wasn't just the quality that was suitable for the game today. But he struggled today. He struggled. You look at even the right side, Pedro Neto. I don't know the hell he was doing. He struggled as well. Like I said, Estevao, when he came on, he actually did so much in that little time that he got compared to the rest of the guys. Now, I don't know if it's just me or maybe the rest of you thinks the same way. But I do think that Cole Palmer should be on the right side. Now, I know. We have Pedro Neto over there. We have Estevao over there. So now, if you put Cole Palmer on the right side, that means you have to bench either Estevao or Neto, which is, again, looks unrealistic. But I do think that at some point in these sort of games, we need to utilize using Cole Palmer as a right wing than as a 10. When he's playing as a 10, it's oversaturated in that midfield. Like, he doesn't have the space to do what he can do best, which, dribbling the ball, creating spaces for other players like João Pedro, and actually being able to cross the ball into the box. So for me, I've always felt like Cole Palmer's best position always has to be a 7, a right wing, not a 10. He can play there, but only if we're using teams like Liverpool, Arsenal, teams that don't do a low block. If you're playing a low block team, you'd rather give him space because in that midfield there is very, very, very saturated. And I don't like it. I would actually rather bench Pedro Neto and actually put maybe a Christopher Nkunku on a 10. Or Enzo Fernandez being played as a 10, and then you have double pivot of Santos and Caicedo or Lavia and Caicedo or Lavia and Santos, whatever you want to do. But please, utilize Cole Palmer as a 7. Use him as a right wing. He's much better off playing that side than in the middle. I don't like him there. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just you. Let me know what you guys think. But I don't like Cole Palmer being played as a 10. Now, a 10 should be a creative player. But Cole Palmer, he's a player that seems to be needing that space for him to be able to create. Now, João Pedro today, very quiet. Am I worried? Nah, not worried. Because I do think he can bounce back. Another player, Delep, he came on, didn't do really much. Estevao, again, he's the only player that I can say he did much today. Gittens, quiet. Caicedo, Sanchez, on the other hand, I don't know. I'm not going to talk about Sanchez at this point. I think we already know what we're going to get from Sanchez. Either he does the exceptional saves or the exceptional fuckeries. But at the end of the day, this is who Maresca wants to go in the season with. So we just have to accept that, take that, and roll with it. Yeah, man, I think... look, we will dig deep into the game and actually talk more about it. But for now, I just think it is what it is, isn't it? But yeah, make sure you do subscribe to the channel, people, and I'll see you guys on the next one.